Last week, PK Subban, who is the best-dressed man maybe ever, wore this spectacular hat while he was on with us, right? And he had the hat. We did a little tour of the hat. PK, everybody loved the hat. But I was then reminded, Alan Hahn is one who is also known for iconic style.
Wow.
You did the Clyde Frazier when you were paying homage.
Look at that zaddy right there. Look
to
at
the great Walt
that zaddy.
Frazier.
That is a handsome man.
Yeah.
So the question, gentlemen, is who wore it better, PK or Alan Hahn?
Ooh.
Alan Hahn looks like he's auditioning to play Sky Masterson in a touring company production of Guys and Dolls, which is a reference that obviously no one on this set
I don't know
gets.
what you're talking about. I take offense to it anyway.
Obviously no one.
I think you look great. I think you look great. If we were to do a PKGQ segment, it'd be off the charts. Look at the pattern, look at the tie, and that's a tough script with the black shirt. To have the black shirt and the vest, it's always difficult to find the right tie with a black shirt, and you made that look seamless. So I think you look great.
Who wore it better?
I'm always 10 toes down with my boy Allen, you know what I'm saying? He swagged out right there, you know what I mean? Like he got like an old caddy drop top outside.
Well, he looks good. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying he looks great. Whoa, 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 whoa.
All right.
Lower interior.
We'll call it a push. Let's switch gears and get to the NBA while the finals are going on. My man, Windy, has his fingers in the air. Let's do a Windy watch because we're getting closer and closer to the draft, which means if there are going to be trades, we're going to see them. Windy, we haven't talked about this man in a while. What is the latest on Giannis?
There's a reason we haven't, Greeny, because Giannis Antetokounmpo has gone overseas to travel with his family. He has made no trade request to the Bucks. He has made no trade hint to the Bucks. The Bucks are proceeding with their offseason as if Giannis is going to be with them, and there's no significant trade talks right now. The plan is for Giannis Antetokounmpo to be a Buck. Now, he can change all that with a simple request, but that request has not happened, and it's not clear that it's going to happen anytime soon.
All right, next up is Kevin Durant, because that's another huge name that could be changing places. What's the latest on KD?
Well, this one is a different story. I do believe Kevin Durant will be traded in the coming weeks. Today, the Suns are naming their new head coach, Jordan Ott. He's at an introductory press conference. They've been going through that process, and I expect them to look into the Durant trade market pretty soon. Now, there are going to be a handful of teams that have interest in Durant. The key with Durant is this. He has 1 year left on his contract. Is he going to want to sign an extension, and is he going to want to be a part of the process of the trade, and are the Suns going to let him be involved in the process? That's a key factor going forward.
All right, and I want to come back to him, but I want to tie it together with the Knicks coaching search. We know they made a move away from Tibbs. We've got the Jason Kidd reporting out there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so the Knicks absolutely would like to hire Jason Kidd to be their next head coach. The question is, will the Dallas Mavericks allow them? And that's really where this is. It will be in the Mavericks' court here. The asking of permission is a formality. If the Mavericks would agree to send Jason Kidd to the Knicks, I believe he would be with the Knicks. There's not going to be an interview. The question here is, what would the Mavericks do? The Mavericks have three choices, Greeny. They can just say no, and this happens. You know, last year, for example, the Phoenix Suns wanted to hire Chauncey Billups, and the Trailblazers said, no, he's our coach. They could negotiate a new contract with Jason Kidd to make him not even think about the Knicks, or they could trade him. And I'll just point out, 11 years ago, Jason Kidd did this exact same thing. Wanted to be the head coach of the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, got himself traded there for 2 second-round picks. So the league is waiting and watching for that.
Okay, so Alan Hahn, you are around the Knicks and the organization day in and day out. Am I living in a world where by the end of this month, 2 Hall of Famers, Jason Kidd, who is in the Hall of Fame as a player, and Kevin Durant, who most certainly will both be with the New York Knicks?
I think anything's possible at this point because you don't fire a coach like Tom Thibodeau if you don't have a plan, if you don't have something already in mind that you know that you can go right to. Now, the thing is, you don't just do it immediately. Number one, there's an NBA Finals going on, but this does feel like a franchise that looks at opportunity in the East and says the time to strike is now. And they're going to try to swing and swing big. Jason Kidd has a relationship with Jalen Brunson. He coached him there already in Dallas. He certainly has a relationship and a mutual respect with Kevin Durant. We have seen them interact several times, even though they have not worked together. It is obviously something for the Knicks. That would be a huge swing that would set a tone in the East to say that the Knicks are trying to win a championship, and they're going for it right now. KD is going to be 37 when the season begins next year. This is not about the next 5 years. This is about right now.
Absolutely, and that's why, Wendy, I was bringing this up yesterday, and To me, if I'm Jason Kidd, if I'm Kevin Durant, if I'm anybody with options, even Giannis to some degree, I'm staying away from the West. If you have the opportunity to be in the East, with the injury to Jason Tatum, the East to me feels wide open for the Knicks or any other team that feels like a contender. The West is a murderer's row. Is that a factor in all of this when you consider what Jason Kidd might do and what Kevin Durant might do?
Without question. I mean, that's probably playing into the Giannis decision. Giannis is looking around at the East saying, you know, I've got a team in Milwaukee here that might be able to do some things. So definitely, if I'm Kevin Durant, I'm looking East. I think the key thing, and Greeny, this is going to keep happening over the next month, and I'm just going to apologize in advance because when I start talking about the second apron, I know that people's eyes glaze over. It's terribly named. It's very complicated. But the Phoenix Suns can't take back more money than they send out. And Kevin Durant makes a humongous amount of money. He makes over $50 million. So anybody that has a dream of wanting Kevin Durant has to realize you're going to have to send the Suns players and you're going to have to send the Suns more money. So when you start dreaming up your Kevin Durant trade scenarios, whether it's New York or anywhere else, you got to realize you're going to have to send some real talent and some real money for him. And so keep that in mind. And the Knicks, that's what the Knicks have to consider. They already have a shallow team. If they trade for Durant, they're going to take on more money. There's no other way to do the trade legally unless you bring in third or fourth teams.
That said, I appreciate all of that. That said, if any team has behaved like they are all in to win right now, it is the Knicks. You don't fire your coach after making the conference final for the first time in a quarter century unless you think next year we are winning the whole thing.
Yeah, you don't fire a coach who's won back-to-back 50 wins, who's fourth on the list, all-time list in franchise history in wins, a guy that brought back a standard to your franchise. You don't make a move like that just because the players weren't happy and wanted to move on. You got to have a plan in place already. You had to already know. And Wendy knows this. We all know this. There's always back-channel conversations. You already know who isn't really comfortable where they are, who might want out. Jason Kidd has done this before, as Wendy has said, but it is also whispers that even before the Luka trade, there was some thought that he might be kind of done in Dallas and wanted to move on. And New York would be a place for him. And if you're the Knicks, that's what you do. You have the might, you have the money, you have all the ability to swing big now.
That little Hembo pop-up there I thought was fascinating. The Knicks 10-1, the Mavericks 28-1
what do they know?
to win the championship next year. Those are the people who know. Wendy, stay close. We'll have much more from you from Indiana as we continue. Meanwhile, we've got basketball coming your way. Angel Reese in the Sky taking on Breanna Stewart and the undefeated Liberty. That's tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Coverage tips with WNBA Countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Coming up, it's Act 3, Scene 1 of AA Ron, now set in Pittsburgh with absolute